Hey guys, welcome back to day 12 of this daily vlog cycle here on my channel. Today I figured we'd maybe stick with the theme of yesterday and look at another part of my life, and that would be the point between graduating uni and the point between getting that job with that large development company that was mentioned in the last video. So yeah, when I graduated, it was, well, we hadn't graduated yet, right? Like you hand in, for anyone who's done uni, they don't know how it works. You hand in your final projects, whatever, yada, yada, yada. You're waiting for marks and eventually you get marks. But even then, you have to wait a little bit longer before you graduate. And you'll graduate, with a 1-1, a 2-1, 2-2, or I think 3-1. I can't remember though. Never aimed that low. Very cocky sounding to me. But yeah, let's focus on what happened immediately after handling my work. So I didn't feel good about some of it. I felt great about other pieces. My dissertation felt really good. There was a group project that was a complete failure for multiple reasons. We won't go into detail here. But straight away, I felt kind of lost in unfamiliar ground, I guess, because I'd always been in education my whole life. I went to primary, secondary school like everyone else does. Went to sixth form. I stayed on for an extra year in sixth form due to like personal issues. I wanted to like better myself. I got a more robust portfolio of courses in education, whatever you want to refer to them as, subjects that I had grades for, and I had a lot of options. And I chose to pursue game design, but then you're in uni, right? And then after uni, there's no more education. You could go back for a master's. I decided I didn't want to do that. I don't think game design masters usually add a lot unless you have something very specific in mind. And I just wanted to get down to developing, really, to be honest with you. So I started applying for jobs like crazy. We'd had a little bit of advice on writing CVs, but not that much, and cover letter assistance wasn't that great. So it was one of those things you find out for yourself. And considering that was the first time I'd had a job where I had to apply for it, very unfamiliar feeling. And I went through a lot of CVs and cover letters. I must have sent out hundreds upon hundreds across a few months. And after a few months and still no responses, that's I had to sign on to job seekers because there's only so far your savings will get you, and that was a weird feeling itself because I've always been a person that tries to avoid. Uh, I guess some people refer to it as handouts, but anything that's like given to you for free. Obviously, the point is that it's given to you to keep you stable, and it's like the payoff is like you have to keep looking for work, sure. But the point is, it feels like you aren't earning the money because you're looking for a job, you don't have one, right? And so that felt really weird to me. I went out of my way to avoid that type of things in like sixth form or further education before uni, in the UK. There used to be something you get, which was basically like pocket money from the government. You get like £30 or so a week, which isn't bad to a student. And I avoided doing that, even though I fully qualified because of my background, my family, etc. But yeah, I think the turn point where like it started to get really demoralizing was when after I had failed to even get like a callback with so many of these applications. Because honestly, everyone wants to be a game dev, right? Everyone does. They don't get paid anywhere near what they should get paid, and they don't really have any rights. They can't argue back because crunch time comes along, you're not willing to do it. You're fired. They'll bring in another person. There's 10 people waiting in line because being a game dev is seen as the most awesome job in the world, and it can be always. But I came very close to getting what I would have called a dream job, perfect job for someone who's entering the world of game dev after education. It would have been with Flash Damage. I was in the process. I was acing the online interviews, ready for the final interview, but then the project got slashed. And that was unfortunate because for those who don't know Splash Damage, they're the people that made things like Brink. They've been handling the Gears of War remasterings. What else they do? They done Wolfenstein Enemy Territory back in the day would be one of the big ones that people know for them. That was awesome because I had a lot of respect for that dev. Always loved my FPSs. Always had a deep connection with that genre, especially. And they were the right size where you could learn a lot and there was room to potentially move up. And they weren't too far away from where I lived. But that fell through. And then that's when it started to really start to get demoralizing. On top of that, at the same time, I had then started to having to go to the job center. Something that kind of helped me I don't know, tap into myself. I kind of reinvented my personal style. It sounds like something small, but it's like when everything feels the same, something changes and it helps. And that kind of did help a lot. That helped with the confidence factor. So I decided to say goodbye to jeans, hello to suits. I love this kind of suiting up point in my life. I kind of miss it actually. I feel like I should get back to it. You know, every day was like a waistcoat, maybe a tie, maybe you had a jacket on, whatever. Always with trainers though. You always have to have your nice little touch. And that also went over well when I ended up going to the job center because they felt that I was always, you know, I always looked the part. I was always ready to go. Like if any of you dropped that day, I was there. But I got put in a youth employment job center as opposed to the regular ones because my go was an experiment that was created to help youth get employed. And it was kind of weird because it still had some of the awkward notions of like the traditional job center that people complain about. You very much felt judged by people for not finding work. Obviously, as they got to know you a bit better, they understood your circumstances. That wasn't that simple, but there were some that remained in that regard. And it just made you feel like a failure as well because you had this degree and you weren't using it. And I guess the weirdest thing for me was that this was meant to be a place that was specialized in helping people find a career path and pursue it. And there were very clearly people there that didn't give a crap about the idea of a career for people. They were more fixated on the idea of a job. It became a numbers game. And it was a very weird, confusing mix because you did have people that were genuinely there. They genuinely seemed to care. They genuinely seemed to want to actually make people better and push them out a better person. And then you just had people that were just honestly, it was like there was no empathy, there was no understanding, and there was no like remorse. Those are the people that you could definitely understand and could see came across from the regional job center and been doing this for years and seen any and every excuse they could imagine and had just become numb to the existence of human beings in awkward situations. And yeah, that was especially tough for me because I had a degree, I had a clear goal of what I wanted to do. I was expanding that goal gradually and logically, right? So obviously at first I just want to be a game dev. Then I'm like, okay, game tester, okay, game, you know, designer dev were the first two, then game tester, then like something else in the game industry that has a tap on effect. Then I expand into software wider. And some of them were very impatient, others were very respectful, understanding. At one point, I actually decided to help out at that center. I volunteered for a vacancy coordinator role because I noticed that they had a filling, and I felt like I'd been there for a while, and I saw some of those people like I could see them being work colleagues, so it seemed like a good idea. I was like, what the hey? Um, and I seemed to have a bit of a knack for it because I had actually experimented with going to a few interviews for stuff like sales roles as well, which usually went down quite well, and they liked the confidence or whatever they want to call it that I had. They thought I'd make a good salesperson, but in most cases, it was commission work, and I was like, eh. At that time, you're like, if it's just commission, there's no wage. Like the way you think about it, especially when you let that down in life, you don't maybe have the true belief in your own confidence. But this was like a nice stepping stone. And funnily enough, that actually almost became my real job. I was quite good at it. I was very good. What I done was I was a middleman between the recruiters and the clients. So the people who would come to the job center looking for employment. So I would gather up like what they could do, look at their CVs, understand who was good for certain roles, and then I'd relay that and push forward good candidates so that the recruiters could focus on the after and then also finding new clients to get more jobs in for the center. And that also shifted a little bit of weight off my shoulders that I was being judged by everyone for like being stubborn or whatever on what I wanted to do for a living. They started to respect the fact that I was willing to flex, I was willing to do different things, but I had a passion that I wanted a career. I didn't just want a job. I didn't want a 9 to 5. And that job was very close to becoming my job. And I think if it wasn't for the time that the software engineer graduate scheme job came along, given another week, I probably would have ended up with that role in my lap. Whether it would have been for the better or worse, I'm not sure. I don't think about it too much. It was a cool role. Thinking back, there were loads of things I liked, and I could maybe see myself in those type of jobs because that kind of confidence play plays to what I do for a living now. But it's all that case. Just don't have a regret of where you ended up. I like I said in the previous video, I'm still grateful for the perspective at least I got out of that job I hated for 2 years. And that experience before that is kind of crazy to now think back to, because what I had to deal with there and the way you have to go through the CV and cover letter uh, process, they're all very crap. They're very outdated. They don't tell you or help you that much, but I get why they exist because there's so many applications. But obviously, what I do for a living now is based on me being able to tap into people, to connect, to show them my work, and that's something like that I would love to see more of. Saw experimentation with it for a bit, especially in that job center, was people doing recorded CVs, like recorded cover letter type situations where for 30 seconds you tell people about you. Um, but yeah, I just thought this would be interesting to actually cover that. I reckon next video, I can already imagine what we'll probably do. We'll probably head back and talk a little bit about what it's like to be on a game design degree. If you got any ideas for videos that you want to see, or any other queries, questions you got on what was covered here, be sure to let me know down below. I just thought it'd be interesting to give kind of a quick rundown of the feelings that maybe some people are feeling out there if they're going through a process where they just graduated and they're not sure how they're going to get their job, or they're not sure what direction life has for them. The best piece of advice I can give to you is, it almost feels cheesy how often I had to use it, but it was always so honest and true from the heart, is I would sit down with a lot of those people who were looking for a job and tell them, you're envisioning your life like this, your career like this, your job like this. It's not. It's like this. It's a weaving path you take. No one would expect me to go from like assistant recruiter to software dev to commentator. It's like, that's how crazy life can be, and I think that's something for you guys to keep in mind, and hopefully you can relate to that. But that's it for this video. If you like what you saw, of course, make sure you hit the like button down below and comment on any suggestions or feelings you have. If you want to see more videos like this, and we've already got a bunch of vlogs that are starting to pop up on this channel because it's done every day, then be sure to subscribe and you'll be notified when the next video is up. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next one.